What do millions of US dollars get you these days? For starters, the right to fire the people who have stood in your way. And in Elon Musk's case, that price tag also buys the ability to reshape the landscape of government oversight, endangering millions in the process.
Against the backdrop of Reagan National Airport this morning, salvage crews are back to work battling gusty winds and pulling the wreckage of American Airlines 5342.
If you are wondering how these mega-rich people live like they are above the law, it's because they've bought the lawmakers. And Elon Musk isn't the chill guy he portrays himself to be. It is reported that in recent elections, he spent more than $290 million to boost Donald Trump and Republicans. This wasn't just because he liked the Republicans, it was so he could secure unprecedented access to the new administration.
This post by the New York Post stating that U.S. aid staffers have been told to stay out of the D.C. headquarters after Elon Musk said President Trump agreed to shut it down.
Still don't believe me? On January 20th, just one day after Trump was sworn into office for his second term, the billionaire arranged for the firing of the head of the Federal Aviation Administration, Michael Whitaker. The reason? Well, the former FAA raised questions against SpaceX launching unapproved missions along with other violations in the past. Plus, he also proposed fines of $175,000. Fines per violation, back on September 25, 20 and 24. Musk took him to his own playground, X, and called him to quit his post by posting he needs to resign over a picture of Whitaker.
When Trump was sworn in, Elon Musk instructed Whitaker that you need to resign. And Whitaker did. He resigned because Elon Musk had basically told him he had to. Because of that, we currently do not have a director of the FAA.
Coming back to the present, on January 21st, the hiring of new air traffic controllers was frozen. This new regime started purging departments left and right, getting rid of anyone who disagreed with their views. And that's not all. These people weren't being replaced either. This meant that the workers who survived the purge had to work for two people. A staff person working in air traffic control told a news outlet, "People are scared and angry here." Moreover, there was also an air of division between the leftists and the rightists in the office, with the now minority going as far as deleting any posts from their social media accounts that would challenge the ideologies of the new government. Then, on January 22nd, the Aviation Safety Advisory Committee, an independent body designed to provide oversight and recommendations, was disbanded. 6 days later, existing FAA employees received a demand for buyouts and retirements, effectively gutting the agency responsible for keeping our skies safe. This wasn't just about cutting costs or reducing bureaucratic red tape. It was about power. Musk and Trump made it absolutely clear that the agencies responsible for protecting everyday Americans were being dismantled piece by piece. And the consequences? It took just 2 weeks for the effects of these reckless decisions to start playing out in real time. January 29th marked the first mid-air collision in American airspace in 16 years, and that was just one of several aviation disasters in the wake of these firings. More than we typically see in entire years. The people who were supposed to keep us safe had been fired, forced out, or left without the resources they needed to do their jobs. Pilots reported increased confusion and congestion in the airspace, with major airports struggling to coordinate traffic. Delays became the norm, and near-miss incidents skyrocketed. Experts warned that this was only the beginning, with the long-term impacts of gutting aviation safety being nearly impossible to predict. And while all this is happening, Trump is doing what he does best: deflecting. 12 hours before one of the worst plane crashes in recent memory, Trump was on television blaming diversity, equity, and inclusion policies for aviation safety issues. As the crews continued to retrieve bodies from the Potomac River after the deadly collision, Trump came forward and laid the blame for the tragedy on workplace diversity initiatives. In a press conference held by his VP, J.D. Vance, his team suggested that the FAA had hired unqualified and incompetent air traffic controllers due to diversity hiring practices. But the irony is that all pilots involved were straight white men.
The FAA's diversity push includes focus on hiring people with severe intellectual and psychiatric disabilities. That is amazing. And then it says FAA says people with severe disabilities are most underrepresented segment of the workforce, and they want them in, and they can be air traffic controllers. I don't think so.
If this all sounds like an overreach of power, it's because it is. And it's not just happening with the FAA. Musk and Trump have set their sights on dismantling any government agency that dares to stand in their way, no matter the cost to public safety. Take the USDA, for example. Musk also pushed for the firing of the head of the USDA. Why? Well, it's because Neuralink, Musk's brain implant company, has been under scrutiny for years due to safety concerns and reports of horrific animal testing practices. Scientists have raised ethical concerns about rushed clinical trials, while rumours have spread of claims of botched experiments and suffering test subjects. When these two messed with the FAA, we saw a deadly plane crash that took the lives of over 60 people. Today, the USDA has warned of a looming bird flu pandemic and something even more terrifying, prions in our domestic food supply. For those of you who are unfamiliar, prion diseases are fatal neurodegenerative disorders caused by misfolded proteins that accumulate in the brain. What are the symptoms, you ask? Dementia, hallucinations, behavioural changes, sometimes aggressive ones, and, inevitably, death within a year. If that sounds like the kind of thing you'd expect to see in a zombie apocalypse movie, that's because it is. And now, with oversight being slashed, critical research funding cut, and key scientists leaving their posts, the risk of an uncontained outbreak is growing by the day. Let's be clear, the people sounding the alarm about these threats are the very people Trump and Musk are trying to silence. While they play political games, we are the ones left to deal with the consequences. The USDA has historically played an important role in regulating food safety, agricultural products, and disease outbreaks. Now, with its leadership under attack and staff morale at an all-time low, public health experts are warning that we could see a surge in preventable illnesses in the coming years. Contaminated food, unchecked livestock diseases, and failing regulatory systems. These aren't hypothetical threats, they're future realities. If you thought it ended there, think again. Even as all of this is happening, Trump is threatening to withhold federal aid from Los Angeles, which is currently in flames.
The Trump administration has paused all federal grants and loans. While it will not pause Social Security or Medicare benefits, there is now a temporary hold on all programs related to DEI, the Green New Deal, and foreign aid assistance.
Let's take a step back and think about that. The country's second largest city is burning, and the President of the United States is essentially shrugging and saying, "Too bad." Why? Because he doesn't see political value in helping a democratic stronghold. And just like with the FAA and the USDA, it's the American people who will pay the price. Families are being displaced, emergency responders are overwhelmed, and entire communities are being reduced to ashes, all while Trump uses the crisis as leverage in his ongoing political battles. And yet, amid all of this chaos, Trump still finds time to push another Ponzi scheme, the Trump coin. That's right. The former president, who has spent his career monetizing everything from stakes to online trading cards, is now backing a cryptocurrency that's set to release another billion tokens over the next 3 years. If that doesn't scream scam, I don't know what does. People saw this as a good investment and decided to put their life savings into the coin. Sure, you could blame them for not doing their research, but when you see an investment opportunity with the name of your president, you'd think that it's an easy trade. The result? Shortly afterward, the coin lost its value, and the people who had invested in it lost a fortune, all while the people behind the coin made a huge bank. While Americans struggle with inflation, job losses, and a crumbling economy, Trump and his inner circle are busy lining their pockets with a get-rich-quick scheme that preys on his most devoted supporters. It's the same playbook he's been using for years. Find a way to monetize his brand, build hype through empty promises, and walk away with the profits before reality sets in. It's pretty clear that Trump's strategy is to redirect anger and fear toward his usual targets, even when the facts contradict him. The truth is, these crashes are happening because of reckless deregulation, mass firings, and the dismantling of the systems that keep air travel safe. But instead of taking responsibility, Trump would rather lean into culture wars and blame minorities because that's the playbook that has always worked for him. This is a pattern. Elon Musk spent over $250 million to help Trump get elected. Now, he's reaping the benefits by tearing apart the very agencies designed to regulate his businesses. The FAA and air traffic controllers, gone. The USDA investigating Neuralink, fired. The safety net protecting everyday Americans, shredded in real time. And the result? More plane crashes, more dangerous food, and more Americans left to fend for themselves in the face of disasters. All while Trump and Musk continue to combine their powers, silence anyone who disagrees with them, and reshape the government to serve their own interests. This is not just corruption, it's a coordinated power grab that is putting every single one of us in danger. And unless we start paying attention, this is just the beginning. The warning signs are all around us. The question is, will we listen before it's too late? That's it for this video. What do you think about this new administration? Do you think these billionaires should be allowed to play with the lives of the common people? Let us know in the comments.